Let's go to our Google Classroom page. So this is our class. Welcome. So I've posted two things this morning. You see new material posted here, logical arguments example. Those are our notes. We will go over them here shortly, but let's first look at our bell ringer. So this is how we do our bell ringers, okay? This is what you can expect every day, okay? I like to give you quotes. Yesterday I gave you a multiple choice, just kind of answer. That was more so out of curiosity. I was curious, and we'll go back. Well, we are going to revisit that. Not right this second, but we will revisit that. So daily, here's what you do. Let's actually just go to the question first. All right. So daily, here's what I'm asking you to do. Tell me what you think this author is trying to say, or what this quote means to you. Either one. You can frame it either way, okay? Today's quote is by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie is an author. I guess more so like in the if you were going to Barnes and Noble, if you were going to the bookstore. I don't know if you guys go to bookstores, but if you do, and you were trying to find a Dale Carnegie book, you'd probably look somewhere around like psychology, self-help, like somewhere around there in that general area. Dale Carnegie is the author of, what's the name of that book? What is the name of that book? Is it How to Influence People? Is that it? Nah, I can't remember now. We can figure it out. Anyway, so Dale Carnegie is an author. I like this quote right here. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to read this quote. I want you to think about this quote, and I want you to respond to this quote. This is how I take daily attendance. As you see, this is due by the end of class, so that helps me know who is logging in, who is on our live session, and who is following along with us in real time. Okay. So when dealing with people, remember, you are not dealing with creatures of logic, but creatures of emotion. So we talked about this. We talked about how humans are not completely logical. I wasn't the first one. I wasn't the one that broke that to you. You kind of already knew that because people do some dumb stuff sometimes. You've done some dumb stuff sometimes. If you have never done anything dumb, I want you to hit me up in the chat and tell me that, because I'm going to call you a liar to your face. I'm going to make you get on camera. Then I'm going to call you a liar. I just had to keep an eye on that. All right, anyways, everybody's messed up. Everybody's made dumb decisions. I jumped off of a chair trying to dunk a basketball and freaking hit my head on freaking gym floor and had a concussion. I've made dumb decisions too. We all have. We've all made dumb decisions because we're not completely logical. You know what is completely logical? Whoops, wrong page. Machines, they're completely logical because that's the way they're programmed. Computers, they're completely logical. Those are logical systems, mechanical systems. You are not that. You are not that because you have emotion. You have emotion. You can't, look, let's be real now. Is love logical? I'm very proficient in dumb stuff. Me too, Lucas. Thank you. No. Love is not logical. Love is not logical. Nope, it is not. It is probably the most illogical thing that I could freaking think of off the top of my head. Love. But we also know how important that is. Like you put somebody else you're putting somebody else's well-being. You're putting, isn't it more of an emotion? Yeah, it is. It is. You're exactly right. It is more of an emotion. I don't think it's entirely an emotion, but we feel love. We feel love. Do computers feel love? Do machines feel love? I would say no. I don't even think you really need to answer that. That's kind of rhetorical. No, machines don't feel love. No, robots don't feel love. Humans feel love. Because it's an emotion. It's an emotion. And it's not logical. So not everything, as we talked about Aristotle, right? We said that Aristotle said, now logic is a tool. Yeah, it's a tool. But it's not the only tool that we have. We have a lot of tools. Emotions can be tools. But again, emotions can steer us wrong as well. Do you think people have done dumb stuff, have done things that are bad for them or bad for other people because of their emotions? Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, love can make you do some. There's a saying. All is fair. Somebody finish this for me. All is fair in love and war. Very good. Thank you very much. All is fair in love and war. Both of those can make you do crazy things. Make you do things that you never thought were possible, that you would never under any circumstances ever do. But it's not logical. It's illogical. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. So I want your interpretation, but I did want to talk about that a little bit so you can kind of see, I guess I'm trying to give you an example. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do today. This is going to be, I think this is going to be very helpful. So yesterday, we went over our notes from the day previous because, Mr. Trogdon was in Randolph Mall parking lot because Mr. Trogdon left his computer at home and Mr. Trogdon didn't realize that until he pulled up to school. And then Mr. Trogdon trying to go back to his house to get his computer to make it back to school. But he realized then he wasn't going to make it. So then first block, he had to pull over an RCC parking lot. So he only made it to McDowell Street exit. All right. Anyways, so we went over our notes from Tuesday. We went over those yesterday. And today, you do have some more notes. But you don't have to write all of it because you should already have the first example for both deductive and inductive reasoning. I'll show you what I mean. I gave you, well, look, let me open this. What am I doing? I'm just talking. I can show you. But yesterday, I gave you some examples of inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. So examples of both formal and informal logic. Okay. That's what I did yesterday. I gave you one example each. Today, I'm going to give you two more examples, but I also included the examples from yesterday as well, because here is my quote unquote, theory. No, not theory. It's not a theory. Here's where my head's at. If we do something that we've already went over and we already understand, that gives us momentum. There we go. All right. So logical examples. Here's what we're gonna do. Also, I do want to draw not draw. I want to focus your attention on this background image. You see how the brain is like split in two? This is, I guess, more so in psychology. Psychology comes from philosophy. It was called philosophy of the mind until like the 1800s. Psychology has not been around for very long, about 200 years. Before that, it was just a field of philosophy, which can be said about a lot of fields of study today. So we're getting to the root of to the root of our issues, of our questions. Okay. But I do want you to notice that, again, they talk about there being two sides of the brain, one that is more logical, one that is more creative. So again, logic is a tool that we can use. As you see on this left side of the brain here, I guess that's pretty accurate. You see equations, right? You see equations. You see, let's see, looks like Pythagorean theorem up there. It's like a quadratic equation. Again, that's your logical part of your brain. But on the right side, you see a lot of paint splatter. You see a lot of, what is essentially art, creativity. That's important for us to understand because, again, we do have a logical side to us, but it's not the only side to us. All right. So with that being said, let me just check real quick. Okay. So with that being said, let's look at our logical examples. Okay. So yesterday we talked about deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is also known as formal logic. This is the example we looked at yesterday. Okay. So you should already understand. I swear. Stupid freaking lights. All right. So you should already understand what you should understand this example because we did it yesterday, but I'm going to go over it again just to make sure that we understand it completely. All right, so deductive reasoning, formal logic, example, numero uno, that means number one for my English-speaking friends. Premise one, all bicycles have two wheels. That's what makes it a bicycle. If it had three wheels, what would it be? Somebody hit me up. Somebody tell me. If it had three wheels, it would be a tricycle. Boom, perfect. If it had one wheel, it would be a unicycle. See, why do you say that different? You know what I mean? Why do you say that different? Why do you call it a bicycle? Why do you call it a tricycle? Why don't you call it a unicycle? I don't know. I'm asking you because I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's illogical. But anyways, let's get back to this. So a bicycle has two wheels. That's what makes it a bicycle. Bi means two. Whew. I don't know why I'm getting so jacked up about that. So yeah, all bicycles have two wheels. You cannot have a bicycle with three wheels. That does not happen. That is not true. Anybody that tells you otherwise is a liar. Premise 2, Jerry is riding a bicycle. This is Jerry. Everybody say hi, Jerry. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. This is not Alcoholics Anonymous. Jerry is riding a bicycle. Yes, that is Jerry. That is true. Premise 2 is true. So let's go back. Premise 1, is premise 1 true? Yes, it is true. Premise 2, is premise 2 true? Yes, it is true. So here's the thing about deductive reasoning and why it's so simple. Deductive reasoning is simple. It's easy. You understand this because it's easy. As long as the conclusion follows these two premises, and the conclusion is Jerry is riding on two wheels, we can easily see that premise 1 and premise 2, we can easily understand that the conclusion is following these two premises. So if premise 1 and premise 2 are true, and the conclusion follows the premises, then the conclusion is true as well. It is that easy. It is that simple. It is that, nothing to it, right? Nothing to it. So again, I wrote that down here. In this example, we can easily determine its validity. Do bicycles have two wheels? Yes, premise 1 is true. Is Jerry riding a bicycle? This is Jerry. Yes, Jerry is riding a bicycle. Premise 2 is true. And if both premises are true and the conclusion follows the premises, then the conclusion must be true as well. Easy, simple. If you have a question about this specific example, let me know, because if not, we're moving on, because I think we can easily understand that when we talked about it yesterday. Okay. All right. Let's look at. So you wrote this yesterday. You wrote this. You do not have to write this again. Okay. You do not have to write the same thing again. We did this one yesterday. You do need to write down number 2 and number 3. Okay. You don't have to do the memes. The memes I just put in there because I think they're funny. Maybe not. But again, if only one person out of our entire class thinks they're somewhat, if it just makes them kind of smile inside, I feel like I'm doing my job. All right, deductive reasoning, formal logic, example number 2. All right, so let's go back to last Friday. Last Friday, school was quote unquote canceled because of impending snow/ice. Depending on where you live, you may have got rain, you may have got a mixture of rain and snow and sleet. If you live, I guess, further north, you probably got more snow. You're one of the lucky ones. All right, so premise 1, all right, it's dangerous to drive on icy streets. We know this to be true. That's why they cancel school every time that there is the chance that a snowflake might touch the road. That is why they cancel school, because it is dangerous to drive on icy streets. If you don't believe that, next time that there is like an actual, like, either bigger snow, or next time that there is like an ice storm, watch the news and you'll see where there's people that go out and they run off the side of the road because, again, it is dangerous to drive on icy streets. All right. Premise 2. All right. Let's pretend that, again, it is snowing. It is icing. And the streets are icy now. So, again, we have to put ourselves in that position. Let's go back to last Friday. I don't know, sometime during last Friday. Especially if you live closer to Greensboro, then, yeah, the streets were probably pretty icy. And you shouldn't have been out driving in it unless you absolutely have to. Because it is dangerous. So let's pretend this is last Friday. The streets are icy now. That is a true statement. So the conclusion, therefore, it is dangerous to drive on the street now. So again, let's look at premise 1. Premise 1, is it true? Yes, it's dangerous to drive on icy streets. Premise 2, this was last Friday. The streets are icy now. That is also a true premise. So as long as the conclusion follows the premises, the conclusion is true as well. Okay? So therefore, it is dangerous to drive on the street right now. Are there any questions about this example? Are there any questions about this example? If there are, again, speak up, holla at me, chat me up, let me know. All right. So I assume that we understand that. Good deal. All right. Yeah, and then I also put this meme. The South be like, oh no, better go get the milk and bread. Like you gonna go home and make milk sandwiches. Come on now. Come on now. I am 30 years old and I've never had a milk sandwich, nor have I ever understood why people just running out and go buy milk and bread. I get that those are staples. Those are staples, like food staples. I don't know. I don't get it. I got other stuff I'm buying if it's snowing. All right, anyways. Deductive reasoning, formal logic, example number 3. All right, I'm about to step on some toes, ladies, maybe gentlemen. I don't know. I'm about to step on some toes. So hopefully you can handle it. Told you need to have a sense of humor in this class, and if you don't, then you're not going to like me. All right, so premise number 1. Bachelors are unmarried men. Bachelors are unmarried men. That is true. That is what a bachelor is. Like if you look up what a bachelor is, what is a bachelor? What is a bachelor? Let's see. Because I want you to believe me. A man who is not and has never been married. Okay. So let's go back to, that's not it. Don't step on my toe. Oh, Olivia, I'm sorry. I think I'm going to. Well, hold on. I might step on your toe. I don't know. All right. So bachelors are unmarried men. That is true. All right. Premise 2, it says Bill is unmarried. Okay. We have to assume this is true. Let's pretend that we all know this one guy named Bill. We all know this one guy named Bill. I don't know how we all know him, but we all have this friend named Bill, and we know that he is unmarried. He is not married. He has never been married, so that we know this is true as well. We all have this friend named Bill who is not married. So boom, there we go. Okay, true statement. The conclusion, therefore, Bill is a bachelor. So if Bill is unmarried and bachelors are unmarried men, then therefore, Bill is a bachelor. Simple. Again, premise 1 is true. Premise 2 is true. And the conclusion follows the premises. So, boom. Easy. Easy. But we can. Now, let's see how we can make this untrue. Okay? Let's see how we can make this untrue. So, bachelors are unmarried men. Let's change this. Well, that didn't work. There we go. All right, so now we changed premise 1. Bachelors are married men. That's premise 1. Premise 2, Bill is unmarried. Conclusion, therefore, Bill is a bachelor. All right, so premise 1 is not true. It's not true. And so what is our rule? If both premises are true and the conclusion follows the premises, then the conclusion is true. But one of these premises is not true. It is false. So that automatically, you know what that does? That automatically makes the conclusion false. Automatically. It's that simple. So let's change this back. It could be premise 1 that's wrong, or we could say Bill is married. The bachelors are unmarried men. That's premise 1. It is true. Bill is married. That can also be true. That can also be true. So premise 1, bachelors are unmarried men. True. Premise 2, Bill is married. Okay, we know Bill, he is married. Conclusion, therefore, Bill is a bachelor. So again, this shows right here how the conclusion does not follow the premises. This is talking about unmarried men, and this is talking about Bill being married. This conclusion is not following the premises. So again, this is how deductive reasoning, this is how a formal logic argument works. We have to have 2 true premises, and the conclusion has to follow the premises. But if the conclusion doesn't follow the premises, then it can be false. If one of the premises is untrue, it can be false. Does that make sense? Is there any questions about that? Because I know we changed some things. We changed the game right there. Are there any questions about that? Again, this seems pretty simple. And you're probably wondering, Mr. Trident, why are we talking about things this simple? Well, we have to start slow. We have to understand what is logical and what is illogical before we can ever talk about things that are, one of those two things. So let's change this again. I'll make this right. Now, here's where I'm going to step on toes because you want to talk about poor logic? Here you go. All right. I'm about to spit some truth to you. I found this meme. The Bachelor is the show that answers the question, how much wine do you have to drink until the guy making out with 20 different women seems like he would make a good husband? My wife watches The Bachelor, and I have that same question every time she watches that show. It's like, what are these people thinking? What are these people thinking? I don't get it. It is that if you want to talk about something being illogical, there you go. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't make for good TV. I'm not saying that. I don't watch it. I don't know. But, sometimes it's just like a car wreck. You don't want to see a car wreck, but if you see one, it's hard not to look at it. And I assume that is the same thing with The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or whatever. You don't want the car wreck to happen, but when the car wreck happens, it's hard not to see it, or it's hard hard to look away. That's what I assume. If I am assuming wrong, let me know. All right, 'cause sometimes I'm wrong. All right, so that's deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning, pretty simple. Now, let's look at inductive reasoning. Let's look at our example from yesterday. So, inductive reasoning, this is also known as informal logic, okay? Yesterday, we used the whole coin. Yeah, let's do this again. Because maybe some of you didn't see it yesterday. This was brilliant. Kinda. Not really. All right. So yesterday, we used this example. Let me make sure. All right. Nobody's calling me out on The Bachelor. All right, good deal. All right. Inductive reasoning, informal logic. Yesterday, we did this experiment. Premise one, the first coin I pulled out of the bag was a penny. All right. This is a bag. Let's just assume. Penny. All right. So premise one is true. The second penny, that's Abraham Lincoln. And third, that's Abraham Lincoln. That is the Lincoln Memorial. The second and third coins I pulled out of the bag were pennies. Okay, so the conclusion, all coins in the bag must be pennies. Again, let's remember what informal logic, let's remember what inductive reasoning is. It takes specific examples and draws a general conclusion. The opposite of deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning takes a general theme or a general, something general, and then it gives you something specific at the end. This is the opposite. It goes from specific to general. We need to understand that, especially, and I think we will the further we go. All right, so premise one, the first coin I pulled out was a penny. Premise two, the second and third coins I pulled out were pennies. So both of those are true. But does that automatically mean the conclusion is true? No, it does not. Let me show you why. So all coins in the bag must be pennies. All right. There's a penny. There's a penny. 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 I feel like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Penny. If I stopped there, the conclusion would be true. But guess what? You already know it. That's not all the coins in the bag, because the last coin is a nickel. That is Thomas Jefferson. And that is Monticello on the back. That is his house that he himself designed. It's in Virginia. Anyways, so, God. So the conclusion could be true, but it could also be false, okay? If that nickel wasn't there, then yeah, the conclusion would be true. But guess what? The nickel was there, so the conclusion is false, okay? Now, so how do we judge the validity here? Well, again, in this scenario, it's based on experience. Is this an accurate statement? It can be, but it can also not be. With inductive reasoning, the premises can be true, yet the conclusion still remains false. Okay? We'll go over some more examples to help you with that. And then the meme here, it takes a penny to make a penny. False. It takes 2.4 pennies to make a penny. There's actually been legislation in Congress. This is no joke, no joke. I'm being dead serious. There has been, not now, but there has been legislation in Congress to get rid of pennies because it takes more money to make a penny than a penny's worth. The more you know, right? The more you know. The more you know. See, you didn't know what you was getting into when you signed up for philosophy. You're learning stuff about other stuff. I don't know. That's stupid. That's stupid. All right. Anyways. All right. So, inductive reasoning, informal logic, example number 2. So this is important because I think you guys can relate. So Jennifer leaves for school at 8 a.m. Okay? Jennifer leaves for school at 8 a.m. That's premise 1. Premise 2, Jennifer is always on time for school. That's premise 2. We can let's assume both of these are true premises. We see Jennifer leave for school at 8 a.m. or we're talking on the phone with her and she's leaving the house for school at 8 a.m. Let's also let's picture this. Jennifer is always on time for school. Jennifer, the entire time that she's been driving to school, let's say it's her senior year, and reckon she got her license towards the end of her sophomore year, and every single day she has never been late for school. She has never been late for school, and she always leaves for school at 8 a.m. So the conclusion here, if Jennifer leaves for school at 8 a.m., she'll be fine. Now, we all know that can be true, but it's not always true. Because what can happen? What can cause you? Give me some comments here. What can cause you to leave for school at the right time, to wake up at the right time, to leave the house at the right time, but still get to school late? Traffic, good example. Traffic, wreck. Good. What else? That's not the excuse I always hear. Weather, okay, that's a good one. School bus, okay, that's a good one. I want to see if anybody can guess the excuse I always hear. Out of gas. No, I hadn't heard that. Boom, Allison, you got log. Hold on. Leave out log truck. Okay, whatever. Needed food, Allison, you got that exactly right. Needed food. I hear this all the time. Sorry, I'm late. The line at Chick-fil-A was long, and I had to get breakfast. And it's like, you didn't have to. You chose to. Final Destination style with the logs. Dude, Michael, that's the first thing I thought of too. When I saw log truck, that's what I thought of, but I didn't think Levi was talking about that. But that's what I was thinking. Huh? I wasn't talking about that. I don't know what that means. That's okay. So we're on the same page then. Like I said. Chick-fil-A is speedy quick, though it's faster than. Is it really? I always assume Chick-fil-A's are going to be it's going to take a long time because it's.
I would rather wait in line for Chick-fil-A with like 30 cars in line than like 2 in McDonald's.
Well, that's because McDonald's, they always give you the, can you pull forward? And then you wait for like 5 minutes. All right. Well, that helps. They are pretty efficient. All right. I'm not going to hate on Chick-fil-A. I can tell you some of y'all are coming to the defense real quick. All right. So yeah. You can wake up at the right time. You can get ready by the right time. You can leave the house by the right time, but still be late. So again, for inductive reasoning, for informal logic, it can be true, but it can also not be true. Just because, again, you are taking specific, again, stay with me, specific evidence or specific, premises, and you're making a generalized conclusion. That's why it can be both true and false. Okay? But now, the first, I don't need Amazon Music. These first 2 examples show you some of the problems with inductive reasoning. But I also want to show you why inductive reasoning is still incredibly important, okay? I want to show you why it's still incredibly important and why we don't just use deductive reasoning. Okay. Also, if you know who this is Morpheus from The Matrix. I'm still trying to figure out how we can watch movies together and make this thing work, but this would be one of the movies we watch, The Matrix. It is the retelling of the story of Socrates as told by Plato from 2,400 years ago, and it is one of a very good movie, but it's just a modernized version of what is called Plato's Cave. That's it. That's it. And there are quotes by Socrates in the movie itself. Yeah. I don't know. I just need to tell you that. I just need to tell you that. All right. Anyways. All right. Our last example. Okay. Our last example. The true philosophy, fast food choice. Yeah, dude. I mean, look, you got to make good decisions. You got to make good decisions. That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing with logic. We're trying to make good decisions. All right, so let's go through this last one. This is the last thing we got, and then I'll explain your notebook quiz to you, what it's going to look like, and then you'll be able to go. I know that this is probably your longest class, and I apologize for that, but I also want to make sure that you are not look, I want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth, right? Getting your money's worth. Your mom and dad's tax dollars are going toward your education. I want to do my job best I can, and sometimes that makes me talk a lot. All right, inductive reasoning, informal logic, example 3. All right, so premise 1: Grandma used to chain smoke cigarettes daily and was always sick. I was gonna put a meme of grandma smoking here, but it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It just didn't feel right. So I put something about grandma's love. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. All right. So grandma used to chain smoke cigarettes daily and was always sick. That is premise 1. I'm talking about my grandma. So this is true. This is true. This is all real. This is all real. Grandma used to chain smoke cigarettes daily and was always sick. True statement. Premise 2: Grandma stopped smoking cigarettes and isn't sick all the time. Also true. Conclusion: since Grandma quit smoking and is feeling better, cigarettes must be bad for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Mr. Trogdon, we've known that cigarettes are bad for you for like at least 60 years now. Even a little bit more, probably more around the 70 to 80 range. Yeah, I know there were studies done in the 1920s by the Nazis who figured this out, but we don't listen to the Nazis, so we didn't take their scientific findings seriously. All right, I get what you're saying. But I want you to imagine yourself 100 years ago, because here's the thing: there were people 100 years ago. Not everybody smoked. Some people didn't smoke, even though there wasn't all this evidence that said that smoking was bad for your health. So some people decided not to smoke. There were some people, here's the thing, crazy. There were some people that were smokers that decided to stop smoking because it made them feel better, even though there was not scientific evidence and studies that could back up their claim. So, here's where inductive reasoning is very important. Scientific theories come from inductive reasoning because you are taking a specific example and you are creating a generalized theory based off that specific example. So 100 years ago, Grandma used to chain smoke cigarettes daily and was always sick. Yeah, she was. I'm imagining myself and my grandmother as if we lived in 1921 instead of 2021. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, 5 years ago, Grandma was just chain smoking all the time, and she was always sick. But ever since she quit chain smoking, she isn't sick all the time. I wonder if the reason she's not sick is because cigarettes are bad for you. That's how we create hypothesis. That's how the scientific method works. It works through inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is great. It's simple. It's how we can make very logical and very quick decisions. But inductive reasoning, we also have to have that. We have to use that because that's how we create theories. And then only through testing those theories can we figure out their validity and if they are true or not. So, with inductive reasoning, with informal logic, you are taking anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence just means that it's true for me or that it's true for, individuals, but not necessarily that you know that it's true for everybody. Okay? Do we understand this example? Do we understand that? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? If it doesn't make sense, then let me know, okay? We need both. We need inductive reasoning and we need deductive reasoning. They both have their place. We went through some of the good things, some of the bad things about both. Okay? Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. All right. So last thing. Let's go to our Google Classroom real quick. Actually, we don't really need to do that. Maybe we do. Yeah, we do. All right. So, tomorrow morning, I will post a notebook quiz. Okay. Your notebook quiz will consist of 10 questions. 10 questions straight from your notes. So that means what we did today and then what we did yesterday and Tuesday. Okay. That's where the questions will come from. They will come directly from your notes. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm trying to make sure that you're keeping up what we're doing, that you understand what we're doing. So here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have 10 questions to answer. If you've been keeping up, if you understand what we're doing, it'll maybe take you 10 minutes. But you have to turn in that, and you also have to turn in your notes. How do you do that? You take a picture, quick, easy, takes 30 seconds. I don't know, maybe less. And then post those as well. Okay. So you have 3 things to post. I'm grouping those into 2 separate sections or category or same assignment. You're going to get 1 grade. But it's a combination of your quiz grade and your notes. Okay. So if you post, all right, so example, if you complete the quiz, you get 100, but you don't attach your notes to it. Well, I'm taking the notes as a whole. So you got a 0 there. You got 100 on your quiz. You put those 2 numbers together, you divide by 2, that is a 50. Don't get a 50 because you didn't turn your notes in. I just need to make sure that you're keeping up what we're doing because, again, there's so much more that goes on up here when you are physically writing your notes. If you were to turn in your notes and get like a 50 on the quiz, well, I'll take those 2 grades, put them together, divided by 2, you get a 75. Okay? That's still a lot better. You raised your grade from, after you failed the quiz. Okay? So the only way that you can screw this up is by not following directions. So just make sure you follow those directions and you'll be fine. Last thing, also these rebus puzzles are due tonight. I have 17 out of 28. 26. Yeah, I have 17 out of 26. So make sure you get that turned in tonight. Yeah, if you hadn't turned it in yet, that's okay. It's not due until tonight, but just make sure you get that in, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, good deal. Has anybody got any questions? I know this is a 45-minute class. You're probably thinking, Mr. Trident, I could have been doing a lot of other fun stuff, but hey, I appreciate you being on here with me. I really enjoy talking to you guys every day. I really enjoy. I hope that you're enjoying it too. I really do. Is the quiz open notebook? Yeah, it is. It is. That's why I want to make sure that you have your notes and everything. But yes, it is open note. I'm not trying to trick you. Tests will be a little bit different. But quizzes, that's the difference between quizzes and tests for me. Quizzes are open note because, well, I want to reward you for doing what you're supposed to do. Daggum lights. All right. If there's no questions, you guys are free to go. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you, Aslan. Memes are necessary. I agree. Appreciate y'all. Thank you,
Made
Paris.
target.
Yo.
So I showed up like 15 minutes late. Do I still get counted present or no?
Well, let's see. How would that work? You should have used the grandma inhaler meme. I'm gonna have to find that. Well, let's think about this. So, if you were 15 minutes late to class, would you be counted present?
If I had a tardy slip, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so why were you late?
Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. I fell asleep.
After your first block?
Nah, I just didn't do first block.
Oh, so you remained asleep. It's not that you fell asleep; you remained
No,
asleep.
I got up at 6:30 this morning. I just went back to sleep.
What'd you do at 6:30?
Texted someone and then went back to sleep.
That's not waking up, Levi.
I had an alarm. I told someone good morning and then I went back to sleep.
Who'd you tell good morning to at 6:30?
A friend.
Who? Is this a female friend, a girlfriend, perhaps?
Trying.
What?
You're recording this.
Oh, I am, aren't I? Okay. All right.
Yes.
Good point.
Bad.
Look, dude, hey, man, I care about you.